Hello my fellow flight simmers, welcome back to another Microsoft Flight Simulator video. This video is supposed to be published on Wednesday night, past Wednesday night, but life has a tendency to get in the way. Therefore, I am recording this today on a Friday night and probably will be published right after recording. Today we are going to take a look at the features introduced by the 0.9.1 version of working title CJ4 mod, and also we will take a look at the airport you see behind me. This airport is Leeds Airport in United Kingdom, and this was sent to me by Burning Blue Designs. Thank you, Adam, for your kind offer to send this airport to me for free to take a look at it. So we will take a look at the airport first and then jump into the cockpit and see what the new version of the CJ4 mod by working title has to offer. Okay, so the Leeds International Airport, as far as I can tell, I have gone around the airport, checked the different buildings and whatnot, and looks like the 3D models are done nicely. It is, as far as I can tell, a true representation of the real airport. These hangars actually have some aircraft in there, and you can pass through the hangar to see the inside. The runways, the taxi markings, and the ground textures are nicely done. These rusty containers, the lights, the markings on the ground, and the ground textures are, to be honest, very nicely done by the Burning Blue Design. I couldn't speak for some reason today. But yeah, if you want to check this airport out, I will place the link to the description field of the video. Just beware, this is a paired airport. This was sent to me for free by the developers for me to share with you guys in one of my videos, and that's what I'm doing right now. There are a lot of nice details that are put in by the developers, and I quite like this airport. Let's jump back to the aircraft and into the cockpit, and let's power her up and take a look at the improvements done by the working title team in the last version of their mod. We will start the engines. I'm just doing it quickly just to not lose any time, and we will really jump directly to what the aircraft has to offer as soon as we have the engines started. Let me align the heading now to the current heading and increase the integrated light a little bit for us to see better. And now the engines are starting. We can initialize our position, and then in the meantime we can recall the flight plan that I created from SimBrief. So now the flight plan is loading. We'll execute this. Our departure is already set to happen from runway 21, and our arrival is going to be to runway 03 with an ILS Yankee approach using LF5 arrival. Let me get closer so that you guys can see, with an Echo Hotel November transition. So we'll execute that. We'll swing back to the plan mode. We'll go and advance through the waypoints while the aircraft is starting. As you see, this is our flight plan. There is a discontinuity here. Let's go and fix it real quick. Right here, we'll just put it there, execute, and I think there is another one right here. We'll execute that as well, and now we can go to the next waypoint and keep going. until we see our departure, arrival airport, I'm sorry. So the arrival into Eindhoven airport in Germany, Echo Hotel, is an interesting one. Let me go to the departure arrival page and let me get rid of this, and that will make more sense when I show it to you like this. And I will also display the arrival or the approach chart, not the arrival, here in a second through Navigraph. Let me just get that on the screen like so that we can take a look at this side by side. As you see in Navigraph chart, we have a teardrop procedure turn that we follow heading 231 for 6.5 miles after Echo Hotel November NDB station and make a left turn to intercept the glide slope and the localizer. However, on the plan page of the aircraft, that is not quite matching what's on the chart. And the new functions introduced by working title mod will help us to fix this. Let me fix this too, and we will look into that. Like after Echo Hotel November, we're supposed to follow heading 231 and make a left turn and come back. But right now the aircraft is going to follow the runway heading, potentially runway 03 heading, the opposite of runway 03 heading, which I think is 214 rather than 231, and then try to turn around here and come back to the runway again. But this is not what we want. To fix this, we can do this. We can take the waypoint, which is Echo Hotel November, and we can say follow heading 321 for 6.5 miles and put this right after Echo Hotel November, in between this and that to here. And as soon as I do that, you see the dashed line. Now that's heading 231 to 6.5 miles and then making the turn to here. And I can execute this. Now that is a better procedure turn than what it was before. And I can also set my own altitude of 2000 feet for this waypoint, so that I make sure I am at 2000 feet before making the turn to intercept the localizer and glide slope, because that's what's the altitude that's shown on the chart over here down below to capture the glide slope. So this is one thing that you can use the new functions of working title mod. Let me get rid of the Navigraph window. The other thing you can do is probably going to help you with the online networks like WetSim. When you are flying on WetSim or any other online network, this is what you can do. Let me zoom out. Let's say the ATC told you to hold, to pass IPTAS at 10,000 miles, 10,000 feet, not miles, I'm sorry. It is too late and I'm just having hard time speaking. We can set that as an altitude restriction. We can also do like 10,000 above or 10,000 or below. Oh, that's 1,000, not 10,000. 10 missing there. 10,000 below. Or we can strictly say, if ATC tells us to pass this in between altitudes, like let's say 7,000 or above and 10,000 or below, and we can make that exactly I think this went the opposite way. 10,000 or below, and 7,000 and above. I think, yes, 7,000 above, 10,000 below. You can also program that. The other good thing is you can add custom waypoints like we did with this procedure term. And to demonstrate that, you can say I want a waypoint 5 miles before IPTAS. If we do this and put it on top of IPTAS, it will exactly enter it before IPTAS as IPT, or India Papa Tango 01, stating that this is the first custom waypoint of, and that's based off of IPTAS. Another one we can do is we can also say we want to, and you can also use this waypoint to put it on the scratch pad and put a slash and say we want to do this 10 miles after IPTAS, and put it again here. Oops, my bad, sorry, not there. We need to put this after IPTAS. Let's cancel this and let's just try to do this again. If we want to do 10 miles after IPTAS, we'll put it after IPTAS, and then it will create a waypoint 10 miles after IPTAS. Then we can use this to set another altitude restriction, let's say for 5,000. And when I execute this, it will make this waypoint permanent, and the VNav, when we are descending, will follow this altitude restriction correctly. Another thing that's introduced is entering waypoint using GPS coordinates, which I will not dive into, but I will put a link to the description field that will take you to the video that's done by the developer team from Working Title. It's posted by K2007. He is one of the developers and he is very responsive on their Discord. So I will put a link to his video where he goes through these waypoints, custom waypoints. We will not execute this, we will leave it alone. We want to stick to our original flight plan. Okay, the other thing is the flight director. Let me turn on the flight director. And as you see now, I have a crosshair that to represent flight director, and this is done through the PFD menu and then the config down below. Maybe I should zoom in just a little bit to show you guys a little bit better and up close. And under this config menu, aside from the pressure setting, which can be changed between hectopascals and inches mercury, you can turn on the altitude in meters that is displayed, and also now you can change how your flight director will look like. You can select V bar, which is the original one that was there, and you can also select the crosshair version of the flight director. And this is a permanent setting, so when you set it once and when you go back, for all your flights going forward, your flight director will look like this. Alright, so these are all the things that I wanted to discuss around and show you around the new version of the mod. And in the next version, the team is trying to bring the holding patterns and missed approach and go around procedures, because if we take a look at the flight plan, it ends at the runway. There is nothing after that. In the real world, there is also a go around and missed approach procedure based off of your approach that's pictured on the card that comes to here, and the aircraft will go into a go around mode when you engage TOGA, take off go around thrust setting. Then the FMC automatically switches to go around and follows that flight path to the holding point of that missed approach. Alright, let me go taxi to the runway, take off, and I will talk about why this crosshair flight director is helpful, and we will probably take a look at the holding patterns that is also introduced by the new version of the mod. I will see you in a little bit. Welcome back. We are at runway 21, ready to take off. And before we do that, I want to share one more thing. This aircraft has a toga button right there, take off, go around, but that's not operational, or it's in-op at the moment. Let me pull the throttle back. But what the team did is they used this button over here below the left engine fire warning to substitute as a toga button. When you press this, the PFD annunciation goes to takeoff mode, okay? And what this does is this is going to lock the runway heading. So if I try to change the heading, it will not change. It will lock to the runway heading, which is a good thing. And also flight directory is updated to show us the pitch angle that we supposed to follow for our takeoff. I'm gonna set ourselves for our cruising altitude is given as 29,000 by SimBrief, but we will not complete the whole flight. We will take off, maybe just level off at a certain altitude and take a look at the holding patterns. So therefore I will set for 29,000, but I will probably change this when we are up in the air for a lower altitude to take a look at the waypoints. Let's go to the present position mode, which is this guy. Let's just get closer. So that's our and interestingly, it is showing the runway 021 a little bit different. I'm not sure. We'll see. Maybe I'm just not looking to the right information. But let's just do our takeoff roll. Go to takeoff speed. Takeoff thrust is set. Airspeed is live. Flaps are set, and I have already calculated the takeoff performance. All I need to do is keep her close to the center line and rotate and get back to the runway heading. And now we are up in the air, gear is coming up, yaw damper can turn on, and now we are climbing nicely. We can turn on the autopilot and set a flight level change of 170, 180, I think, knots, which then will start climbing, and we can turn on the nav mode so that we just turn around and follow our flight plan. So let's turn around, follow the flight plan, in the meantime bring in the flaps, and now as soon as we turn around I'll take a look at the FMC. What is our next waypoint? Our next waypoint is 22 miles away, and it is this DVR waypoint. Let's try to do a holding pattern here. Okay, and our heading to reach there is going to be 051, which we are turning to right now, slowly. So to program the hold, you go to the index page, and then there is a hold menu here, which will then carry you to the flight legs or active legs page. So now we select the active leg and put it into the boxes by clicking this, which then will carry us to the holding page or holding programming page. Let me bring the altitude down and let's just level off at 12,000 feet. And also, while we are about to pass 10,000, let's just turn off the landing and taxi lights, and the logo lights too. So now I will go back to the plan mode, okay, and I will zoom out just a tiny bit. There we go. And
altitude.
We will just do this and go to the current waypoint, which is right there, and then this is the holding point. that now we are going to program. So let's go back to the legs, and I'm sorry, let's go back to the index and hold. So now what you can do here, so we are going to follow, oh, we are overspeeding, let me cut the throttle. We are testing, so I'm not worried about staying at 250 below 10,000, and we are actually above 10,000, so that's not a problem. So what I'm trying to tell is how you program the hold. So a couple things that you need to enter. One thing is how is your inbound course to the holding pattern will be, and whether you want a right turning holding pattern or a left turning holding pattern. So our heading is automatically carried from our flight plan, and the aircraft is assuming that we are going to follow the same heading until we enter the holding pattern, and then we will make a right turn, which is represented here, and follow that right turn and follow that track for a minute. What is going on? Oh, overspeed. Cut the throttle, baby. We are going to make another right turn and then go back to 051 and fly that for a minute before we make another turn. So let's execute this and let's see what the aircraft will do when we get there, because we are very close to that waypoint. Okay, we are now slowing down, which is I think a good thing, and we'll go down here. And you can also do this left-hand turn. Only thing you need to be careful is you need to put the leading zeros when you are entering the heading that is less than 100. 051, and then put the letter L for left, and that will then create a left turn holding pattern right around that waypoint. I'm not going to execute this, we will use the right hand turn. Let's cancel this, and I will share how you exit the hold when you get there. But let's see what the aircraft is going to do, and let's also start a timer to see if it really does it for a minute before it turns again. So how accurate this is, let's just test that a little bit. There is also a holding speed that you can set. It is now going to try to hold at 230, which we need to probably slow down to so that we make those turns safely. Let's zoom in just a little bit more while we are slowing down to 230 knots. And we are about to enter the holding pattern, which you will see it's going to become active, and it will be displayed as a magenta ellipse or circle, not circle, it's going to be an ellipse, or this holding pattern, this white color will turn to magenta when the hold is active and the aircraft starts to follow the hold. So we are almost there. We should see that hold turning to magenta here in a second, hopefully. There you go. Now the hold is active. Now the aircraft is going to make a right turn. And let's start the timer. It's counting over here. Let's see what happens after a minute. So now we are actually turning. The one thing the developer said is it's not going to accurately stay on this magenta line, but it will try to do its best to keep the holding pattern and turn around until we'll tell it to exit the hold. So now it's turning. When it reaches here, it's gonna travel over there, turn again, travel over here, turn again, so on and so forth until you tell it to exit the hold. And to tell the aircraft to exit the hold, you need to go back to the legs page. Now it's showing that hold at DVR, which is what it is doing right now. And there is a command that says exit hold. When I press this, now the exit is armed and the aircraft is now trying to exit the hold, and we will engage the nav mode one more time because it is sometimes not following it, and it didn't actually exit the right way. It should have followed it once and then exit through here, but maybe I wasn't patient enough to give it time to do the holding pattern. Let's try to do this over here in the next waypoint and see what happens when we get there. So again, index, hold, new hold, Conan, put it there. Now it's putting Conan hold there with a dashed line until we execute it. Let's this time just do 0.9.4 and the left hand turn holding pattern. There we go. Now we execute this. Now the aircraft will follow the flight path until it reaches that waypoint, and then it will enter to a holding pattern. And this time let's give the aircraft more time to follow the holding pattern before we tell it to exit the hold, and see what happens. I will get there and bring you guys back here in a second, so see you in a little bit. Welcome back. We are now approaching the Conan waypoint and about to enter the holding pattern. I will just move around and get close to the ND so that we can see what the aircraft is doing. It's about to enter the holding pattern right now, and this time it's going to make a left turn, come back, make a left turn, come back, so on and so forth. Right now we are entering the holding pattern. The aircraft is actually now turning to the left, as you see on the screen, and this time I'm gonna give it enough time until maybe it reaches over here, and then we will command the aircraft to exit the hold, which then probably it will turn again, and while passing Conan it will exit the hold and keep going. Or you can wait and exit the hold when you are getting close to the fix that you are holding at. So that's something you need to play with and figure out the best way to do it for you. But this will become handy when you are flying on an online network, not like VATSIM. If the ATC tells you to hold at a certain waypoint, or maybe go to a certain waypoint after you do a misapproach until the working title team implements the holding, the go around and missed approach procedures into the mod. That might be an option to use on VATSIM, to go to the holding fix that's depicted on the chart and do a holding pattern there after you fly your missed approach. So we will swing around, exit the hold, and last thing I'm going to talk about is how you use this crosshair flight director to hand fly the aircraft. Because right now with the default one, which is the V shape, it doesn't show you where to aim, if that's the right word, for your lateral navigation when the autopilot is not active. But this one, with the change, even if the autopilot is turned off, it will still guide you on where you need to turn based on your preference, like whether it's the heading that you set to manually fly to a certain waypoint or to a certain direction, whatever it might be. This will help you to stay on track and stay on course. So now we are going to make the second turn. Right now I haven't started the timer, so I'm not exactly sure how long it has been since we made the turn, but now it is turning again. Let's start the timer and just time it to see how long it will take the aircraft to reach back to here, where it will make another turn, which we will not. We will just command it to exit the hold. It is probably going to be more than a minute. I'm not sure if that minute starts right after you make the turn until you just fly the parallel course until you are ready to make the turn again. But this is how you can use the turns in the CJ4 working title mod version 0.9.1. Turning around, so that turn is probably going to take at least a minute, and then it should take another minute for the aircraft to travel from here to the Conan waypoint, which then we will command it to exit the hold by pressing this button here like we did before, probably a little bit early. So let's wait until the aircraft completes the turn, and then we will command it to exit the hold and see what happens. Alright, the turn is almost complete, like so. Now the aircraft will level the wings. We are looking to the PFD to see the wings level, and now they are probably going to go to the opposite direction to align with the heading, as I suspected it is doing that. And now it will level the wings, yeah. And now we can command it to exit the hold. So now, as you see, the exit is armed, but it is not going to do it until it reaches this waypoint. And as soon as we hit Conan, this magenta line will disappear and our flight path will become the active leg to Kilo Oscar Kilo waypoint. And that whole pattern after turn to reaching here took a little over 2 minutes 20 seconds. It will probably take 2.5 minutes to reach that waypoint from where it started to turn. So I'm not sure how that 1 minute is calculated, but as you see, now we exited the hold, and now we are continuing to the next waypoint on our flight plan. Cool. So let me switch to the heading mode from LNAV. So now we are flying the heading mode, and I will synchronize to the current heading, and I will show you how you can use the flight director. Oh, I accidentally hit the rudder pedals. Sorry about that. I will disconnect the autopilot. So now autopilot is disconnected. This dot is where you need to aim for both vertical and horizontal lines of the flight director. Now you see we are going off track just a little bit. So I will adjust the heading, and as you see, as I move the heading bug, the flight director moves accordingly to guide me where to turn. And if I get that magenta line to the middle, so that is my bank angle to make the turn. And also I am climbing, so that means I need to pitch the nose down and make that dot stay at the center to get back to 12,000. So this is how you can look at the instruments not outside and fly the aircraft manually by following the flight director while staying at the desired altitude that you set here, and then the desired heading you selected through the heading bug. So now, as you see, I selected heading, I think 054, which is right there, and I am almost there, and the flight director is guiding me on how to make it relevant. So I'm climbing now. I need to adjust the trim to pitch down a little bit, and this is how you can use the flight director to manually fly the aircraft if you know where you want to go. Let's go back to the nav mode. then aircraft will follow the flight plan. But guys, this is all I wanted to share with you. I'm not gonna complete this flight and try to land. We have done it so many times. I just want to keep this video fairly short than my previous ones, but just wanted to share. For some reason the LNAV is not arming. Oh, because we are off track and aircraft doesn't know where to go. Let's just do this. Oh, autopilot is not on. That's what I'm forgetting here. Okay, now it should start turning around to get back on course. This is what I wanted to share. Thanks for being here and thanks for watching. I am planning to post another video in a couple days if life again doesn't get in the way. Until that time, take care of yourself, stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you in the next video.